Hello from Davos, Switzerland. I'm Aja Whitaker-Moore, editor-in-chief of Axios. I'm here with Jim VandeHei, CEO of Axios. Hi, Jim. So you've been to Davos before. What is the biggest difference between last year, previous years, and this year?
I don't know that there's that much difference other than I think last year would have been like anticipation and hype around AI. And I think most of the conversation now is about application. If not today, how application will now start to unfold over the next year. So the conversation's much more, instead of being aspirational, it's much more execution.
And as a CEO, how do you know that you've had a successful week at Davos when you've wrapped all your meetings and all of your conversations? How do you measure that?
I think it's very much, you can do so many important conversations with really smart people in a really short period of time. I can't think of another place on earth where you can do that, particularly when you're in the media or you're in business, just being able to see people who are your peers or people that you do business with. And there's kind of the expectation of speed dating, so it's fine. Like, I don't love long meetings, so the idea that like the expectation is a short meeting, you get a lot done. And then you get exposed to just stuff people are hopped up about. Like, we are in the media, so we cover a lot of these topics. But then when you start to swim in the pool of business, you get to hear like the common themes of like, what are they obsessed with and what are they thinking about, which then, stirs new ideas both for our business, but then also for our coverage.
And AI has obviously been a big topic. This year, the forum's theme is collaboration for the intelligent age. What does that mean? Do you know?
It's probably you're trying to find a clever way to talk about AI, quantum computing, the sort of the changing politics of the world, and just what does it mean? Like, ultimately, that's what the forum seems to be about, is like get smart people from around the world to compare notes on politics, technology, business, and the economy, and figure out, okay, now like where are we going directionally? And the truth is, like, people like joke on Davos is all the smart people and all the elites, but like there are a lot of people across the world at different levels at a variety of companies that do have to wrestle with this every day. Like, most companies are global, and you really have to understand the global trading patterns and the global political patterns. And then your job when you're running a company, you're sitting in a C-suite, is okay, now from that I have to extrapolate a series of decisions that I'm going to make in a really volatile area. And so any intel that you're picking up hopefully is helpful.
And you, I'm sure, have been very, very focused on your packing and your fashion for this trip. So tell me the one thing that you didn't bring that you wish you had, and the one thing that was essential.
I'm an efficient packer, and I don't care about clothes. So I think it's been warmer this time, and I try to work out every day. So you got to make sure you bring in enough clothes to do that. But other than that, it's been toasty. Hell, I walked around yesterday without a jacket outside for a couple miles. That's great.
Okay, so we've had a CEO question, a fashionista question, now a journalist question. So as a journalist, with your journalist hat on, what is the topic that has been most on everyone's mind in terms of conversation this week?
I mean, because we're located in Washington and because we have a nice line of sight into the White House, a lot of people want to talk to us just about what's happening with Trump, what's happening with this transition to government. While we're having Davos, you have a new president being inaugurated. While he's being inaugurated, on the stage in front of the cabinet are tech CEOs. We've never seen that. I don't think in history have you had next to the president during his inauguration the business titans, especially the business titans inside companies that are literally the size of nation states. And so there's a lot of interest in that. Like, what does that mean? There's just this expectation, one, that there'll be chaos, but there's also what's really different. There's this expectation that the US is just going to explode in terms of growth, that you're going to suddenly see a lot of activity in deregulation. You're going to see a lot of activity around energy. You're going to see a lot of activity around AI. And you have almost this fusing of this like tech mentality and tech momentum, tech wealth with political wealth. And that is a very new phenomenon. And I think there's a lot of conversation about that here, that when you look at the world, and remember the US, for all of our problems, we're killing everyone else. Like, we're in terms of economic growth, in terms of innovation, we're crushing it on AI. So a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, what are we getting right that they're getting wrong? I think one of the sub-themes here is almost like a funk among anyone attached to the European continent. They just worried. They feel like they're worried they're going to get left behind. They're worried they're losing the technology wars or losing kind of the zest and spirit that it takes to build a great company. They look at us, they look at China, they look at Japan, they look at Asia, and they just see themselves maybe falling behind. And so, like, those are big things, and there are big things happening around the world simultaneously, which is what I think makes things like this really interesting.
Well, it sounds like you've had a great week. I think we're out of time, Jim. Thank you. And next up, we have Axios publisher, His Excellency Nick Johnston.
Hello, everyone from Davos. I'm Nicholas Johnston, the publisher of Axios. We're having a great time here on the promenade in Qualcomm House. Huge thanks to Qualcomm for making all of our conversations this week possible. And I'm very excited to be here today with Wasim Troubaji. He's the president of Qualcomm MEA and SVP of Government Affairs at EMEA. Wasim, great to see you.
Yes, thank you very, very much.
We are in the thick of Davos this year. AI is a big talk everywhere. From your vantage point, give us a little bit of a big picture about what you see about the progress of AI and the challenges it's facing to continue expanding.
So that's a very important conversation we're having right now in Davos. Actually, since last year, lots of things have happened, and AI is getting pervasive across many devices and many industries. And I would say each company, each sector is starting to figure out what kind of benefits they can get out of this new revolution. Having said that, it's certain that AI will grow fast, will be very impactful, will be disruptive to industries, transformative, and will come with a major number of challenges, from energy consumption to security, to privacy, to value distribution, to ecosystems, to how the future would look like for existing industries versus new industries. So you need to look at all of that, make scenarios. Nobody can predict what will happen in 10 years, but at least you can plan what will come over the next few years.
So as AI explodes, I think you've nailed exactly why this year is different than last year. A lot of it was like, oh, it's exciting and it's here, and now we're arriving at this implementation phase. We want to use it. How do we use it for those? And then we're encountering those challenges, just like you mentioned, the speed, the security of it. Okay, so now that we see these challenges, in your mind, what are the solutions we should take?
Actually, the good news about Qualcomm is that as a technology company, we've been like in various generations of transformative computing technologies and mobile connectivity technologies like 3G, 4G, 5G. So we understand when a technology get created, the hype cycle, and then the implementation cycle. And I would say one of the major approaches we have adopted is the fact that on one side you need, AI is growing in the cloud. It will require lots of energy, and it requires to scale. So to do that, we're taking a very holistic approach where we're designing chips that are high performance, low power, designed specifically for AI with neural engines that are running on devices. So you are porting all these models to run on the devices you have in your pocket, in your car, in your PC, and basically using the computing capabilities you have everywhere to run these models instead of having them concentrated in certain areas.
And that solves for energy consumption because it's much more efficient in your pocket. It solves for security because it's not being sent up into the cloud. And I guess for speed as well, since it's not pinging back and forth.
So you have a number of scenarios to cope with. But certainly if you're sitting in your car and you have all these camera streams coming in, and you're engaging with your car saying, hey, what's this monument, right? Because you can the car see what you're seeing now with the cameras in, right? So what's this monument? You need a response straight away. You cannot wait. You cannot wait. But then all these AI will be used for autonomous driving, assistant driving. Latency is super important. Security. I would put it this way. Ideally, and we've seen it in the industrial use cases, I would be happy to expand on this a bit more. But you need to bring AI to where the data is, where the data is created and born. Once you do that, you get super low latency, so very responsive approach, but also super secure because you're very close to where decisions should be made and data is created.
I want to dig onto the industry use cases. What I love having these conversations with Qualcomm is this isn't theory. This is stuff that exists, real. So like bring us into the real world and show like what are some of the impacts that people are seeing with this on their device?
That's exactly it. So, our approach is to say, okay, we have all these technical and technological assets, right? What we call, I would summarize them in this way: high performance, low power computing, AI, and connectivity. You bring all these assets together and say, I have verticals, I have use cases, how can I address them in an implementation and practical perspective? So we did something, to give you an example, with Aramco. This is the largest industrial company in the world in oil and gas. And we looked at their problem statement and how AI can help by doing edge AI, right? And just in September, in a few months actually, we went to one of their largest oil plants, completely air-gapped. You don't have internet access. And we brought in edge AI to augment the workers, to enable predictive maintenance, to enable rapid responses to incidents. It was a game changer.
On the devices they're carrying.
On the devices they're carrying, in the cameras they having on site, as well on the drones they had, bringing edge AI capabilities to where you need the action to be.
So this isn't theory, this is happening.
This is happening.
Now.
This is happening. We showed it actually. It is deployed. And the value creation is impressive. The ROI is there. And next is about creating these end-to-end solutions. That's what Qualcomm is working on for several industries. Each industry has its own use cases, has its own challenges. So you need to address those in a very pragmatic and practical way.
That's one of the funnest parts about Davos is hearing about how the future is here now. Wasim, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. Huge thanks to Qualcomm for making this conversation possible.
Thank you so much.